So, girls, welcome.
So this is going to be really fun. It can be such a pressure to date. It's like a crazy story, but like for me, this is like...
I was going to church because my parents were going.
No, maybe. Welcome to our very first episode of Girl Talk.
Woo!
Yeah. We are so excited that you are joining us as we're going to be touching on so many different topics. But before we dive into these topics, we want you to get to know us. Yeah. So, girls, welcome. I am so excited to be doing this with you guys. Like I said, we like to get them to get to know you guys and us get to know each other. We know each other, but not like super well. So this is exciting. Yeah. So Beth, why don't you go first? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, so I'm born and raised in England on the south coast. I did university. I did 3 years of broadcast television and media production. So I've always had a passion for this kind of thing. I started my own photography business at uni because I thought, why not make money whilst you're getting a degree?
Great.
And so then I did that and had a couple of breaks working, and now I moved to become a missionary and work in YWAM, which is a youth with a mission organization. It's awesome.
How did you make that decision to come into, you said Youth with a Mission?
Yeah. To be honest, I was in a bit of I hated a job. I was in a job that was, it sucked.
Have we all been before? Let's be honest.
I was bored, and I never heard of this organization before. And my mum just came up to me, showed me one day, and I was like, that's what I want to do. That sounds amazing. I want to travel, and I want to meet people, and I want to do something new. So I decided to come here, and it changed my life. And now I get to do awesome things like talk shows with you.
Yeah. So true.
So good. Really awesome. I think you saying like you coming to Youth with a Mission, I think we'll find a lot of things that we have in common, and that's one of them. We all joined Youth with a Mission, but it's cool to hear how we all came to this place. That's awesome. And Leiji from Brazil.
Spicy.
Oh yeah, spicy.
So
I'm actually allergic to spices.
Oh yeah, that is true. We lived together. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So how did you decide to move to England?
Good question. So as I said, I'm from Brazil. I always wanted to learn English, but I never really learned when I was in Brazil. Like you have it at school, but it's like once a week, and it's 1 or 2 hours, so it's not really enough for you to learn. So I always, when you see something and you're like, that looks amazing, but seems like magic. It's like some people do it, but I'm not capable of that. So I always wanted to learn, but I never really got to dedicate myself to learn it. So me and my husband, I'm married for almost 5 years now. So we decided to come to England and learn English. I came here, didn't speak anything.
This is true.
That was 3 years ago. So Sienna was staff at the school that I was that calls ECHO, English Culture Orientation. So I didn't really know much. People would look at me and talk to me like, hi, how are you? And then my reaction would be like, go away.
Yes. Can I tell you this? When I picked her up at the airport, it was me and one other staff. Poor soul. Like, we picked her up and I'm like, hi, my name is Sienna. And I'm trying to make her comfortable. Talk to her just like.
No idea what is going on. And my husband, he knew some English, so he could communicate. So he was like, "Hi, how are you? I'm good. How was the flight?" I was like, "Yeah, we're okay." But then it was like, I just wanted to hide behind him. I was like, I don't know what am I doing here. So that was really stressful. But as you can tell, we stayed here. We are going to complete 4 years here in England, 4 years in YWAM Harpenen. And now we are working with the studio. I'm also part of the cafe. I help to manage the Oval Cafe here at the base. And I also work with communication. And I help to manage the communication team and a cultura team, but we also have somebody else that works with this area here.
It's so funny because you're a photographer as well, aren't
Yes.
you, Lady? So Beth, Lady, and me are all photographers.
I tried. When I was little, I'd take pictures and I would cut people off. I was like, so maybe this is not for me. It's fine. So I'll have
okay.
you guys know.
You're really good on front of the camera.
Exactly.
So that's perfect.
Well, I just want to actually brag on you a little bit. Just amazing, because like we said that I was staffing your echo school, and just from the beginning, you know, you were so shy and like, you know, couldn't barely communicate. But look at you now, like just so fluent, communicating, managing the cafe, and just had made a life for you here in England. So well done.
Thank
Come
you.
on, snaps for Lady.
It's amazing. So you guys said 3 of you have photography in common.
Yeah.
You being one of them.
Yeah, I do as
tell
well.
us a bit about you, Nay.
I feel like similar to a lot of people, I started taking photos maybe when I was 10. My dad gave me like one of his leftover old cameras, and I loved it. So by the time I was like 13, bought my own DSLR. And then by the time I was 17, people were asking me to photograph more formal things like family portraits and portrait sessions. So obviously, like I'm like deep down a bit of like an entrepreneur. Like I think I always have had that thing in me of like, oh, any way that I can make a bit of cash or I can get like a business going.
I get it.
Yeah. And so I like jumped on that and I was like, oh, well, I can make money with my hobby.
Yeah.
And so did. And ended up photographing. I love portrait photography.
Yeah.
I love people and I love drawing like the beauty that people don't see in themselves out of them through photography.
Yeah.
And so even I do like a fair bit of wedding photography as well. Yeah. And my favorite thing is like the first wedding I ever did was actually a guy who I was kind of I was good friends with him. I didn't really know his like fiance that well. But he was like, yeah, if we fly you out to where we live, then can you do it for free? And I was like, oh yeah, totally. And they were from Australia. So I was flown from England to Australia for my first wedding, which was awesome. It was really good fun.
See, I want you to teach me photography so I can have this kind of opportunities.
I'm going to go for free for Australia.
Yeah, seriously.
My first wedding, my best friend's grandma got married, and it was like in this tiny little farm church, and she wore a fuchsia bright pink dress.
Nice.
So I love the contrast. You got flown out to Australia.
I need to see those pictures.
I'll show you. Yeah, I managed actually to get her in a wheelbarrow at one point for a photo shoot. So that was kind of weird.
Mine was so good as well because actually with the story is I had, it would cost the same amount for me to go from England to Australia with maybe like 2 or 3 stops as it would for me to go from like England and stay in Dubai for like 5 days and then go from Dubai to Australia. So I like talked to him and I was like, can I just get like a free like trip to Dubai out of this as well? And so I did. Actually? Yeah, I booked it through Dubai, but then it ended up being like it was great being in Dubai for 5 days, but like my travel plan, like my flights, the worst set of flights I've ever had. It was like 4 flights to get to Dubai, which probably took me like over 20 hours. And then it was like 4 flights to get to Australia, which took me like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how long, like so long, like the weirdest route. And then coming back, I just had 2 flights. And coming back, I was like, why did I not do that? Because I was shattered by the time I got to Australia.
Just really wanted to go to Dubai.
Yeah.
My gosh. Wow. Well, mine is different interests growing up. Mine is old people. Yeah. Old people. I was in town with my mom and I saw these cute old people and I was just like, oh my gosh, Mom, I just want to work with old people. She's just like, yeah, what's your obsession with old people? I'm like, they're just so cute and they have stories and like, you just want to know them. So anyway, so I went to school for working with personal care assistant. It was 6 months and then I went to volunteer at this old folks home and guys, no. I was like, I think I'm only meant to visit them, but not actually work for. Like it was just. But yeah, no, I love old people, and and so I actually didn't end up using that degree, but like I support adults with special needs, which is it was fulfilling. It's exhausting, but. It's fun. I got paid to go to take them to the movies, shopping, to my house. This is a good job.
I mean, not quite Australia, but pretty good.
Obviously.
It's not a competition, all right.
Please. No, I want to ask you guys, because you guys have photography in common.
Yeah.
I want to go around and ask you guys, what has been the most interesting experience taking a photo? Like when you've shot someone, like what are some of the crazy ideas maybe they've had or?
Oh, great question.
Mine isn't photography, but it's videography, so it's similar.
Oh, okay.
I did a wedding once with this couple were a bit odd, and they got married on a golf course, and I wanted to get a shot, and we were going around the golf course in this golf caddy, you know, like one of those little things, and they wanted to get a shot of them on it, and so they're like, well, can't we just strap you to the back of the golf caddy and then you can film it?
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, all right. So I've got this picture of me like dressed up for this wedding in a dress, strapped into where the golf clubs go, like with this belt behind me, with my shoulder mount and my camera on. And I couldn't use any of the footage because it was way too riveting on the thing. But it was probably like the weirdest like scenario I've been in when it comes to like wedding.
When they like told you were like, this is serious, this is a joke, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah, but that's so me to be like, yeah, before I even think about it. Like, yeah, okay. Did not think about the logistics or anything.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of scary and I couldn't use any of the footage.
Right.
But at least I showed my dedication.
You're like, I'm alive to tell the story,
And
and
it
that's
was
what's
fun.
important.
That's
Experience,
great.
my gosh.
It was odd, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh no, go ahead.
I have a lot of like tragic stories, I think, from weddings. I've had the worst like time with my equipment, my camera equipment, which was like this first wedding that I went on. I came back and I'd saved the things on like the photographs on a hard drive, and it was maybe 2 days into being back home, and I was like, oh, I need to back it up. And I went to plug it in, and all of the photos were gone.
No.
Yeah. And so I was like freaking out, and I ended up like contacting actually the like company that recover information or whatever from like for the BBC. And I was like, can you help me? And it was a horrible thing of like a month or month and a half of trying to get these photos back. And then I did. Thank goodness. Literally. I was like, if there's anyone who's had the worst experiences with wedding photography that you think would be like, oh, that's it, I'm out, it would be me. And then there was one that I photographed in Switzerland, and I'd bought a lens online, and I didn't know, but the lens that I'd bought there was just like it was a malfunction with the lens, and so it would mess up my camera bodies, which I didn't know what was happening for ages.
Oh my goodness.
And I was in Switzerland, and I had like 3 cameras. Every single one of them, like 20 minutes, one after the other, ended up malfunctioning because they'd been connected to this lens, which was messing them up. And so, anyways, was able to finish that wedding by borrowing a groom that I'd photographed in Switzerland the year before. He had like a Canon 5D, like Mark III or something. And I'd asked him when my first one crashed if I could borrow it, and he was like, yeah, that's fine. And literally ended up photographing the whole reception then on his camera.
Well, I mean, at least you had backup. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
nice. Oh,
So it was
wow.
pretty crazy.
You've had some crazy
Yeah.
ones. Huh. What about you?
I can think about one situation right now that was, so I started taking pictures of concerts, like shows, because my husband, during that time, he was my boyfriend, he was playing with different bands. And then had this one time that we were waiting, they were the next to play. And I was on my equipment and everything, I was ready. But then they had this big, this famous singer in Brazil that he was the one playing on that moment. So one of the people like from the team, they came to me and said, we need some pictures of him. Could you take those pictures? I was like, yeah, sure. But the person didn't know about me, and then the crew didn't really knew me.
no.
So that was like me
No
trying to
bragging.
go around, and then like the guy responsible for the stage would like pick up. I was like, okay. So like I would try to go, and it was like, no, not here. And then I ended up talking to him. I was like, the team organizing the event, they asked me to take the pictures, and they were like, this kind of thing cannot happen, but that's okay. And then like he went there and he let me, but it was like, oh my gosh, yeah.
So awkward, my gosh.
So, but in the end I got the pictures, I gave to them, it was all good, but it
first was like
stressful at the first time.
Yeah, you can feel so intrusive as a photographer
Yeah.
sometimes,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
where you're like, am I too close? Am I being really annoying?
I've had a photographer one time. I was like, I wanted to take some pictures to give to my mom for her 50th birthday.
Yeah.
And the photographer came so close to me. I'm like, oh boy. And so she took the photo, and I just looked like this. I'm like, I don't want to give this to my mom. Like,
Full school photos.
Oh, no, don't.
I have to tell you guys, my sister, she wanted to have a photo shoot, and I just was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a photographer. You know how sometimes you guys, well, I say you guys, I don't know if you did this, but photographers, they get down on their knees and stuff.
yeah.
And I was doing this.
We do
But
that
I
a
wasn't,
lot.
but I wasn't even capturing my sister. I was capturing the ceiling, thinking I'm so like creative. And I'm like, I'm just gonna leave this to the professionals.
Can you get out of my shot, actually?
She's like, is there any photos with me? I'm like, no, maybe. Anyways, moving away from this, I want to ask you guys, if you can describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
That is hard.
That is hard.
Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
It's hard.
I mean, if there's more, you can. Okay, I'll go. I think if I would describe myself, I would probably be like, I would say like colorful. Because like I feel like I come in so many different,
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm like a big personality, big like, and so like one time like a teacher asked me like, how would you describe yourself? I'm like colorful, like
Yeah.
That's good.
How would you say
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's good. I would say dedication.
Yeah.
I feel like everything
good.
that I get involved with, I kind of give 100% of myself.
Yeah.
But that includes anything. So my family, my friends, project that I'm involved with, anything, I give my 100%. And
That's so good.
Yeah, it's good, but at the same time, if I'm with two projects,
Yeah.
or if I have two things going on at the same time, I want to turn myself in 200
Yeah.
because I want to give 100%. But I think that would be a good word to put
like
it
it.
out there.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Do you have one, Beth?
No. Indecisive is one that comes to mind.
That's how you want to describe yourself.
It's so hard.
I need something better than that.
It's like I come up with some and then I'm like, oh, but it also kind of isn't. But I guess like right now, one that I would maybe say is like grounded, maybe. Which is like, I think as a person, I'm like very confident. I know who I am a lot.
Yeah.
I know the things that like I like to do.
Yeah.
And in that way, I think it means that I'm able to be very grounded in the things that I do. Although I feel like energy-wise, this is where I'm like, it contradicts because energy-wise, like I can be super buzzy and have like loads of energy, be really social, like kind of butterfly person.
Yeah.
But overall, like internally, it's always this kind of like internal, just like chill.
Yes.
And then also just like, I love like earthy things. I'm like drawn to nature. I love earthy
You should see our
colours.
bedroom. It's got like a bazillion plants.
Yeah, I'm the plant collector.
Which
You're
I'm
the
so
plant
glad
mom.
about. Because
Yeah, I literally
I
am.
can't keep them alive, but Naomi can.
Yeah, I'm the plant mom. I go around and take care of the whole flat's plants, make sure they're well fed.
I'll maybe give you mine because I've been trying.
Yeah.
Some of them are trying to die.
I
There's no
I
way.
want so badly to have more plants, but I'm terrible. I was like, that's why I hate receiving plants or flowers because I don't want to disappoint that
Yeah.
person.
Everyone? Never
That's
gets
so
the
my
only
mom
I
as
love
well.
it though. I don't want to disappoint the person,
Yeah.
and they come like, the
I
plant
get
is
it.
dead. I'm like, I tried. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. My mom's the same with indoor plants. She like gets given indoor plants as presents a lot of the time. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of also like an older woman gift.
Yeah.
Not that she's that old. But she's always
She's
like,
watching.
I don't know why people keep on giving me indoor plants because I don't know how to take care of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you said you're indecisive. That's how you.
That's a sucky one. Okay, you reminded me with plants. It's kind of late, but I would say growing.
Yeah.
Because I
that's
think
good.
I think I'm grown in kind of self-awareness. So a lot of the time I'm always trying to learn from things I do wrong or mistakes or social situations. And I think I'm getting better at like applying things and just constantly trying to change for the better. So growing.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's really good. I think that really stuck out to me because that's like me. I think we're all like in a process of growing. You're just constantly growing. I think I'm 29 and if I look back when I was even like early 20s, I'm like, oh my gosh, I look back, I'm like, who the heck was I? You know, like do you guys find that with yourself? Like when you look back how you've grown, like what are some of the things that you feel like, yep, I have definitely
I'm so grateful for it as well because I'm like, I think we should all be growing all the time. But if I look at me like last year, I was a completely different person, you know. Like, and I hope to have that same response next year. You know what I mean? To see myself growing.
Do you guys have it on kind of the topic of growing where you see like Facebook like memories.
Oh no!
And
Yeah.
it shows
oh
like
my
your
God.
like your old
It's
statuses.
so
And
embarrassing.
every time I'm just there like reading 13-year-old Naomi statuses, and I'm like, Naomi, why did you think that was funny? Or like, why did you think the world needed to know that?
I get it.
Just about to go out the door to the spa. Nobody cares, Sion.
It would
Nobody
be like,
cares.
had a great time hanging out with my neighbor. Like,
I think that's when I feel like I'm like, wow, I've come a long ways. Because you do have these Facebook reminders, memories, and I'm just like,
Constant
or
reminders of
pictures
how
that
you
come
were.
up, you're like,
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
yeah.
well, I was allowed to go out into the world like this.
Yeah.
Mine came up from 2 years ago. I dyed my hair bright green, which was like the worst decision ever. And then I have all the pictures of me. Okay, when she had red hair, when she had green hair, and you can see like the emotional stage I was in my life and which color hair I had. So I'm glad that I've grown from that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But at the same time, it's really good to look back
Yeah.
and see. Because when I look to the hairs that I had, I'm a mix of like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I don't have that anymore. And then sometimes I look to other ones, I'm like, I want that back.
Yeah.
So true. Well, talking about growing, I'm so excited to be growing with you guys.
For sure,
We are
yeah.
so excited that you have joined with us, and we hope to see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, how amazing was